Hey everybody, my name is Ashley Rush and I'm an independent creative memories advisor located in North Carolina. As promised, I was going to talk to you guys about tools, and I wanted to highlight a tool that doesn't get a whole lot of airtime. I'm talking about recipe templates. Now, these should not be confused with a project recipe. Even though they share part of the name, they are very different. So project recipes are something that Creative Memories creates to make a cutting guide to create a 2-page spread. A recipe template, like this one here, is a piece of essentially plastic that you can overlay on top of your scrapbooking paper to create endless amounts of different scrapbook pages. So it's a recipe template instead of a project recipe. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I have not used these a lot. They're a little bit intimidating. I just see all of these intricate pieces and I freak out and I shut down and I'm like, no thanks, not for me. But today, I am going to change that and I'm going to give these a try, give you guys some extra tips to make them easy to use, and we'll see how it turns out at the end. I hope you enjoy. When you sit down to use your recipe template for the first time, there are a couple of tools you'll need to make things so much easier. First, obviously, you're going to need your recipe template. I also highly recommend our repositionable tape runner. Creative Memories also has these multi-purpose clips, and some people find them very useful, some people meh, so that's something you're going to have to try for yourself. I also recommend a photo labeling pencil to use with any photos you plan on using, as well as a really good pencil. And then obviously, you're going to need your paper trimmer. Before you cut a single paper, I think one important thing to know is that just because you see all of these openings does not mean you have to fill them. So I don't have to have a piece of paper in every one of these tiny little openings. Frankly, that sounds kind of exhausting to me. The whole point of the recipe template is that it gives you options. So you could just use these rhombus shapes to make a frame and then be done. You could use all 9 of these circles to make a fun pattern. You could use just 3. When you look at the packaging for your template, I think they do a fairly good job of showing you different options. So here we can see that they used the frame effect, and they've outlined what they've used. And then they've also used a couple of different other pieces. There's some triangles in here, a couple of squares. And then down at the bottom, they have highlighted where they've used basically just the circles and a couple of triangles as well. While you're looking at your packaging, make sure you read the instructions. They give you some good tips there. For example, in step number 2 of the Circle Lattice template, they suggest using the custom cutting system, small circle, and red blade to cut out any photos you plan on using in the circles. So you can use the blue blade or the green blade for your papers, but the red blades will be great for your photos so you get that nice matting effect. All right, I think I'm ready to get started. I'm going to start out sort of easy. I'm going to replicate just this frame effect. So let me remove my instructions. Now, when you are marking what you want to use, only use your photo labeling pencil on photos. If you use this on your photos, you're going to be able to wipe it away. If you use this on your papers, it's going to be permanent. So if you would like to mark anything, make sure you're just using a pencil and you make very light marks. So I won't actually be using any photos today, so I'm just going to set this aside. I've selected these 3 sheets from the Leave Nothing Behind papers. And I think I'm going to do my base in this brown, and then I'm going to do the frame effect in these greens. So I'm going to mark off the frame effects first. So set the brown aside, And I think I'll do, let's do the light green on the top and bottom and the dark green on the side to side. So even though I know this is the top or bottom, I like to turn things sideways. It makes it easier for me to frame it here while I'm filming. This is where these clips come into play. So if I would like to make sure that my paper stays attached to my, my template, I'm just going to sort of make sure it's all lined up. Yeah, that looks good to me. And then I'm just going to slide my clips on. I'll slide them over since I'm using the stuff here in the corner. And I'm just going to put one in each corner. Ah, and now I dropped one. So I'm going to put all the clips on, and then I'm going to slide as necessary. Now these clips go on really easy, and honestly, I have not been recommending these to people because I was like, who really needs a clip? But this actually holds pretty strong. I'm kind of impressed. So I'm seeing that there is a little buckling when you've got it at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to use just the top so that this will lay flat when I come in with my pencil. All right. So I'm looking at this, and I think I'm just going to put, I'm going to do this corner, and then these corners. And I'm thinking that since these are nice straight lines, I only have to line up the edges. Maybe I'll do one line here in the middle. And then I'm going to repeat for the opposite side. So I'm going to do this corner. And maybe this side. Now, so real talk right now, guys. When I'm sitting down to film, it's kind of hard for me to see everything. So hopefully it's all straight and in there nicely. But in the interest of speed and getting it all done, sometimes it's hard for me to get things lined up nice. Like the other week when I was putting down stickers. Oh boy, were those crooked. But I went back at the end and I fixed them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these clips off. And I see I've got my marks there. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Let's go ahead and do the other green pattern. So again, I just need to get my clips on. Man, that is a really good, strong clip. I regret not using these sooner. I'm going to have to find more ways to use these clips because they are really nice. All right, so now with this one, I am using this side. And this is a little darker, so hopefully my pencil lines show up. And then this side. I need to move that clip just a little bit. Okay. I think I've hit all my corners. So now I can move my template aside and we can cut. Okay. So the first thing I need to do is find where I've got some cuts. And with this dark paper, that's going to be a little difficult, but I can see my lines. They're on this side. So I'm just going to put those down on my trimmer. I'm going to use my guidelines here at the top and bottom to make sure I'm hitting that spot. So on the bottom, I think I look good. Hitting it there. I'm just gonna cut. Okay. I'm going to flip and do this side next. This time I have 3 lines that I can check. Oh, that looks pretty on. Yep. Okay. Now to do those diagonal lines, you're just going to turn your paper. You're going to find your 2 marks and you're going to line those up on your cutting line. So I don't know if you guys can see because the paper's so dark. I've got a pencil mark here and a pencil mark there. They're both on the cutting line. And I'm just going to shave them off. I'm going to do the same on this side. So pencil mark to pencil mark. And there we go. I think I slid my paper a little bit on that one at the end, so this one might be a little short, but that's okay. We will make it work. So I've got my first piece done. Now I'm gonna just repeat that process on this side. For this particular recipe, using the 45-degree line has been very helpful in helping lining up those diagonal edges. All right, so I have finished cutting all of those. I'm just gonna go through with an eraser and get any of those stray pencil marks that I maybe missed. Oh, I guess I should maybe cut my last one. Forgetful me. Now you can go through with an eraser and get any of those stray pencil marks. right, so I've inspected my papers for any pencil marks. I can always come back in the end and do that. All right, so I'm gonna just set my trimmer aside. I'm gonna pull out my base paper, which is that beautiful brown, and then I've got my, my template here. So roundabouts, I was thinking, you know, we said the soft green on the top and bottom. Okay. So the best way to get those down is I'm going to do a little bit of magic with my template. I'm going to turn it upside down, although I guess there really is no upside down unless you look at the label. So I already had it upside down. And I'm going to put just a very, very small amount of repositionable on my template. And this is just going to help me arrange my pieces, keep them in place. Now again, you want a very small amount because the repositionable, while repositionable, does have a tendency to sometimes take the color off of a piece of paper, which is fine because normally it's on the bottom. I just went a little overboard on that one. Okay. Now I've got some repositionable here, and I'm just going to line up these pieces until they look about even and straight, and then just give a little pressure where I had those repositionable dots. And you can see sometimes if you cut it a little short, like I did on that one, just make sure you're centering it. Giving a little bit of pressure here. And then the very last one, okay, once you've got the repositionable holding your spot, now you're going to put your full amounts of repositionable on. Uh-oh. These guys just need a little tiny bit more. These were the ones where it's a little chintzy. Again, these guys are just making sure you're holding them in place. All right, so now I should be able to pick up my template, gently flip it over, find the middle, and adhere. So now you're putting more pressure on all of those underlying pieces. And then you can pull up your template. Now then you want to make sure you come through, rub any spots that might have stray adhesive on it. And then you also want to make sure that you are rubbing off your template and getting the stray adhesive off of your template as well, so that it doesn't gunk up over time. Should we do another one? I'm thinking yes. I think we need to do one more. So let's pull out our template again, and let's pull out that cover sheet and give ourselves some inspiration. I think I'm gonna go really simple and show you guys that this can be done without a whole lot of like finagly cutting. I'm going to do, instead of like this pieced together border, I'm going to do a solid border, and I'm going to do 3 circles on one side, kind of creating a border. So I'm going to do, let's move this aside. I'm just going to put that over here. I'm going to do a solid cardstock base, and then since I am kind of cheating a little bit, I'm going to take this here, I'm going to measure, let's see, so that's 1/2 inch, which means that that should be 1/2 inch, which means that it's an 11-inch square all the way around. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and I'm going to cut a sheet at 11 inches, so just 1 inch off each side. Ooh, but it's so circular. Okay. Because this is a nice circular pattern, I'm gonna cut 1/2 inch off each side instead of like 1 inch off of 2 sides. And that'll help keep my pattern centered. So I said I wasn't gonna be finagly, but look at me here being all finagly. There we go. So, put my trimmer aside. I think I'm pretty much done with my trimmer now. The plan is to put this guy right in the middle. Cool, cool. That's looking good. And now I'm just going to pull out my custom cutting system. And let's see. Let's pull. All right, so I'm gonna pull out this beautiful green sheet. I've got my small circle. Remember, that was recommended to me in the instructions. And I'm gonna do the outside, and I'm gonna do a couple blue circles. So I think I'm gonna cut 3. One. Two. Now, if I wanted to take my time and really plan this out, I could do better at preserving my paper and not having so much waste, but I promise I'll set this stuff aside and I'll use it maybe in a scraps video in the future. All right, so I've got my 3 circles. Then then, you know what, just for giggles, let me cut. I'm just gonna cut a couple of red circles out so that we have a place to show like photos if we want. So that's the same circle pattern. And I'm just using the reverse of the leave nothing behind paper because it is photo safe. And now I've switched to my red blade. All right. And now I'm finished with all my cutting. And I can start adhering. Well, I know that this guy's going in the middle. Ooh, I actually kind of like that too. Ooh, I think maybe I'm gonna do that side up. Okay, so let me just erase. That's the great thing about the repositionable. You just rub it off and you pretend like it never happened. Okay, so I'm gonna put my repositionable on this side. I'm gonna center that as best as I can. Now I'm gonna take my pattern here and there we go. So I can kind of do the same thing I did before. I'm just kind of trying to decide whether I want this pattern up or if I want to maybe swap them. Let's go with, I'm going to do all three up on the ivy pattern. What would you guys have done? Would you have done like every other pattern? I don't know, there's something about that too that's kind of nice. Okay, that's what I'll do. So again, I'm going to use the underside of my template here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of repositionable towards the middle of the circle, just to give it something to hold on to. And then I'm going to, let's see, if I want this guy to be on the front, he needs to be down first because we're layering. Then we'll go this guy. Then this guy. Once you have them where you want them, you can apply your repositionable. And I can line them up. And press them down. Again, now making sure that those little cheat spots you were using are removed, and making sure you remove it from your template as well. and done. That one, guys, this one went so fast. And then, of course, we're going to pretend these are our photos. So we've got little photos we can slip in if we want. And then you've got a place for a large photo here or several like 4x6s. You could not put photos here and make that a fun border. Maybe throw down some stickers, some clusters, and it's really cute. So I don't know, what did you guys like better? Do you like this one with the circles? Or do you like this one with the squares? I think sort of the important distinction here is that, so with the square and the framing, it was a lot of finicky cutting, right? I had to mark pencils. I had to then come through and like cut straight lines. Lots of like little pitsy, puddly cutting. This one was so fast because I was using the template more as a guide and an idea sheet and a way to line things up, and when I was ready to actually put them down. I like how fast this one went. It was wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. But this one, you know, it's got a little bit more pizzazz to it. But I think having those diagonal cuts makes it a little more hard. If I took the time ahead of time, I could have measured like how thick this strip of paper would have been. So instead of trying to like cut and measure lines, I would have just been able to cut a straight strip and measure using my trimmer, and then just marked the corners so I knew where to make my diagonal cuts. So that's something I can think about for the future. So recipe templates, are you guys yay or nay? For me, I'm kind of torn. Go figure, I'm always torn. I really like the idea that the recipe templates can provide for you. You can do some really fun, intricate pages if you have the time and patience for it. I like being able to look at them and say, what if I did this, this, and this, and sort of like give it as a sketch as opposed to a hard and fast, like must do this rule. And I don't know. And I did find it nice. It was nice to use it like to help line things up. So like when I did the circle layout, to be able to like perfectly space them the way I wanted to, this was super duper helpful for that. I do not think that I will ever be the scrapbooker who goes in and cuts out all of these little itty bitty individual pieces. Homegirl just does not have time for that. But I really liked it as a guide, so I will try and use it more often. I also think that these make really beautiful like opening pages, intro pages to our album. So I could see getting a little more intricate with those, especially since we don't always have a lot of photos to use with them. So yeah, I'm kind of converted. I like the ease of being able to use it to line things up, especially when you're doing something with different geometric shapes. But I do not like the putziness of all the little cutting with all of the tiny pieces. So have you guys used these in the past? If so, which is your favorite template? Because there are so many out there available. I think currently right now in 2022, there's like a star flake, there's this, the Better Believe It from National Scrapbook Day. Gosh, I don't know. There's a botanical burst one that's got lots of circles in it. Yeah, just tons of different options. So I would love to know which one is your favorite so that I can try and give it a try. And then which of these pages did you guys like the best? Were you like Team Circle or were you Team Frame? Circle or Frame? I like Frame as an intro page. So like beginning of a scrapbook, that could be a lot of fun. Put like Rush Family 2022. But like as a in my book, 2-page spread kind of thing, I feel like this is the beginning of a really fun 2-page spread. I could mirror it across. I wouldn't even necessarily have to repeat the circles. So guys, I am making a decision hard and fast. Team circle all the way. Look at me making a choice. Woo! Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are looking for more ways to connect, check out my Facebook and my Instagram. I post daily content there, and it is the easiest way to send me one-on-one messages, and we can talk like a little more intimately. Oh, that sounds really weird. Strike that. And if you guys are looking for more inspiration, why don't you guys join one of my classes? I hold in-person and virtual events, so there is something out there for everybody. And I think coming up, I have a crop coming up next month. I haven't gotten my virtual classes on the docket yet, but I am in the process of doing that. If there is a type of class that you want to take, I respond really well to feedback. So tell me what kind of class you want, and I will put one together for you. And we can do it online via Zoom for all of my friends out there far and wide. Lastly, if there was something in this video that you love and just have to have, please check out my website at creativememories.com. And if you love everything, let's talk about having you join my team. I am really focusing on growth this year, and I would love for you to grow with me. I guess that's it for this week. I'll see you all later. Bye.